Today, we're discussing how good Black Market Connections is.
But just before we get into the video for today, if you are enjoying the content that I'm putting out there, please do consider subscribing, turning on that notifications. It really helps us out. But with that being said, let's get right on into the video for today.
Alright, so we're discussing the new Black 3-mana enchantment from D&D Battle for Baldur's Gate. So this enchantment, it's a pretty nice enchantment, I think. And at least, hey, it's better than Phyrexian Arena, and that card's real bad, I think. Just in my opinion, I think Phyrexian Arena's pretty darn bad. This one, it's pretty good. Not really good, but pretty good. That's about it. Like, at least it's better than Phyrexian Arena. You get some choices. The problem here is, again, you get, you still can choose all three of these modes, but it only happens once. So it's one of those things, like, once on your turn, and things like that, not whenever you do something, or if you sacrificed something, or if you kill something, or if you did something else, something black, blah, 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 or if your opponent did something, or whatever. Even that sort of taxing style of an effect, though black isn't very known for taxing, though it is known for some sort of, life-draining sort of taxing and things like that, different little things here and there, which you can, count as taxing or count as a quote-unquote cost to the effects of what your opponents are doing or choices that they have to make. Oh, if you attack me, I get one of your, I get your top card, and I get to play it. Okay, so just don't attack me. Or, plus, if you attack me, you lose a life, and I gain a life for each creature that you're attacking me with, or whatever. Things like that, But anyway, if you choose all three of these, that's still pretty darn good, I think. That's a really good effect, but still only once per turn. And that's hard. That's so hard to break that power barrier. But this is, again, a kind of card I feel like maybe should have been printed 3 or 4 years ago. This is just a card that will no longer make the power balance of higher, more competitive decks in, above precon power level and above just upgraded precons and things like that. I'm not talking about CDH again, but yeah, it's definitely a decent upgrade for some precon decks, if you put it in there. It offers you a whole lot of different things that could be useful to a whole lot of different decks and things like that. So, and if you have copy effects, then I guess it would go up. But again, I'm not really considering that for the most part, because if you run a whole bunch of copy effects, you can make any card good. I could make Phyrexian Arena good, by copying it 50-something times or whatever. Or by giving, my opponents 50 copies of Phyrexian Arena or whatever. Things like that. I can make that really good. In 2 turns, they're dead. They've drawn their entire deck. Or if I have that card that says, I think Underworld Dreams, that says, whenever an opponent draws a card, they lose life. In certain things, it could be interesting. But again, all this is definitely under your effect. You mostly want to take advantage for yourself. Again, so yeah, I don't see any of those whatever it is, whatever the Rakdos Zedru deck commander is. I can't remember his name now, but when he attacks, or when he deals damage to someone rather, you can donate one of your things to your opponent. Why would you donate something like this? Even though it's not, super amazing, why would you give your opponent free resources? You wouldn't want to give them something like this unless you can control in some ways, or negatively benefit them more by them drawing more cards or getting more treasure and things like that. So I don't think it fits in a deck like that and things like that. So I've seen a few people saying, "Oh, this would be really good in like Punisher decks or whatever and things like that." I give it to my opponent and then they'll lose 2 life, but they'll draw a card, I guess. But if I have this other thing, rah 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 and whatnot, they'll take even more damage. Blah blah blah. Okay, sure, but like I think it's too much fiddling around just to try to get like 2 or 3 damage every turn. Like I don't know. That seems like too much work to me to get such a small payoff. But I have seen a lot of people say, "Hey, this would be good," or "This would be interesting if you could do this with it." So I don't think that that's a interesting option. Each option, though, does cost you life, and each one is more life than the last. So treasure tokens are 1 life, drawing a card is 2 life, and creating a 3/2 is 3 life. If I do all of these, I've lost 6 life. I have 1 treasure and 1 more card and a 3/2. So sometimes I think the 3/2 is the most irrelevant part. I mean, maybe in certain decks this wouldn't be too bad. Like, I might think about it in my Shadowfang deck, but honestly, really, it's just too slow, even for that deck. And again, there's so much competition in almost every deck that even cards like this that are a strict upgrade of a Phyrexian Arena and things like that is like, well, why would I take this when I can play Necropotence? Why would I take this when I can play, just something that draws me 5 cards or whatever right here, right now? Or, something that, I've built my deck in such a way that I draw basically my entire deck to find the 1 or 2 cards that I need, or my tutors or whatnot to find the 1 or 2 cards that I do need to win the game. Like, like, I don't know, like it's just like it's a cool card, definitely, and it is a powerful card, and it is nice that they printed it, but they should have printed this like 4 or 5 years ago, dude. It's way too late for a card like this, and things like that. So it's just, I think, like, again, this is meant to be built for Commander. Like, sure, this is built for Commander, like maybe 5 years ago, dude. We've gotten so much power creep in the last 5 years, or not even that, in the last couple of years. So maybe I'm saying that like 5 years as maybe too much. I'm saying 5 years is probably too much, honestly. But it feels like a card that would have been printed 5 years ago, or, 3 years ago, or whatever. And it would have been, pretty darn decent back then. But now it's just not going to cut it in most decks. Yeah, sure, if you've got those precons that don't have it, and you happen to have this card, or you happen to have the precon that it's from, hey, you can jam it into a deck, and that deck will feel a bit better, because you'll have some other things going on. You have more choices. Certainly better than Phyrexian Arena, again. Don't want to harp on that fact, but still, it is a fact. So it's one of those things that, hey, yeah, sure, I'll lose 2 life for 1 card. Ooh, but I'll, also maybe lose 1 more life for a treasure. If that card I drew, is 1 mana, is my Sol Ring, maybe, if you're happening to play it. Hey, I just got my Sol Ring. So I paid 1 life to cast my Sol Ring. It was basically Bolas' Citadel at that point, to a degree, in a sense. But whatever. Actually 3 life, but there you go, whatever. But yeah, like, I don't know, dudes. Like, I don't know what else to say about this card. It's a cool card again, but honestly, it's one of those cards that I feel like it's kind of a card that, there will be certainly some people that will play it, but at, again, much lower kind of power levels for the most part. But again, looking at the price point for this card, it's over $22. I think there's a lot of hype behind some of these cards. So, and especially this card. And, it is decent-ish. Like, I don't want to rag on it, but, again, like, I just don't know, dudes. Like, to be honest, it's just one of those things that, like, yeah. Magic, EDH, gameplay, like, not that you have to play CDH, but again, if you're playing like the full-on Timmy games and things like that, are you going to splash out 20 plus bucks for this, 3-mana card? Maybe I'd splash 20 bucks for this card over Phyrexian Arena, and I think that card's like 20 bucks. I'd rather spend my 20 bucks on this than that, definitely. But I would rather spend like $1 on like Midnight Reaper or something like that. That's a 3/2, I think, that says whenever something dies on your field, you draw a card and lose 1 life. Like, I would rather find that zombie, I think it is, that says whenever it dies, you can give -1 to a creature, or you can create a treasure, and then find some ways to loop it in and out of my graveyard, and then just, like, draw all the cards, make all the mana, and just, like, I wouldn't do that, but still, like, that would be a much more efficient, powerful, effective synergy. Like, so that's what I mean. There's no synergy to be had with this card. It's a decent card, but that's about it. So that is my thoughts on it. I've kind of said the same thing several times, I know, but I kind of wanted to hammer home what I kind of thought about it and explain why I kind of thought that way and why I thought that way or think that way about this card, and kind of like explain it to you guys, hopefully, so that you kind of get what I'm saying. I'm not saying this card deserves to be in the trash can. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying this card is only a card for, pre-con decks that don't already have it as a minor upgrade, or for other pre-con decks that you're upgrading for, a little while, and then you're going to change this card out for something else. If it's a placeholder card for something else until you get something better, or you just can't afford something better, or whatnot, which I think you can. You can find a lot of cards that are better, that are $1, and build in more synergies with, like, if you're a sacrifice deck, which most black decks tend to find themselves running into, then that's probably the way you should be, like, leaning into. So, but that's just my opinions on this card. I want to talk about more cards and whatnot from the set, from the Commander decks, because there's some really cool cards, and I feel like, some people are, again, this is why I say, when in the, upgrades videos, all these prices for all these cards, they're going to be in flux. People don't know how good these cards are. And again, I think some people have overrepresented, that the right way to say it, I guess, hopefully, how good this card is. Certainly, it's okay. But beyond it, like how much it should be worth, maybe $5 to $10, maybe. Like, that would be it, in my opinion. Not worth $22 odd. But, it is somewhat of a limited card, and that card that could change when, more copies get, out there into the market. So we could see the price drop, certainly. We have been seeing a lot of price drops from the set because, hey, people realized, hey, that card that we were pretty hyped for, like, yeah, we forgot, oh yeah, it's only once per turn or whatever, and blah, 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 this and that, oh, it's not as good as this or not as good as that. Oh yeah, well, we don't want it anymore, so people get, like, antsy about some of these things, and that's fine. Like, I like looking at cards too and going, well, how good is this? Where will it fit? And that's like what I've just been saying throughout this video. This is where it probably fits if you're going to pick it up. Like if you are going to pick one of these up, I wouldn't actually buy this as a single, to be honest. Even if, in theory, the rest of the deck has a lot of bulk in it and you might not use a whole lot of it. Like a $50 deck or a $60 deck or an $80 deck with one $20 card in it and some maybe other $20 cards in it and, a few $5 cards or whatever and things like that in it, I'm picking up the whole deck, dude. Hashtag finances over here, bro. I would pick up the whole deck if I wanted any of these cards because even if I don't want a lot of the other cards, I might be just like, well, dude, I'm going to sit here with this, deck and just like parcel out the parts that I don't want and keep the parts that I do want, like sell off the parts that I don't want. I'm probably going to make a profit, like that's a lot of the idea of a lot of people. It's like, oh, you know what? If I sell these cards quickly enough or to the right person, I'll make a profit. But you've really got really the only way you actually do that is if you're a store and you sell in bulk because again, or you open them in bulk and you sell them, you have hundreds and thousands of them because you're only making a little bit on this deck in total. And again, prices will continue to go down. The more that are open, the more supply that there is. So yeah, you've got to always be aware of that. And again, like people's perceptions of cards will change over time. People will go, you know what? This card isn't that good. It isn't that spicy. I could just run this, this, and this. And it essentially does all that this does, but I can do it 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, a million times per turn, every single turn. And then I'll win the game, or whatnot from there. Because I'll basically have infinite mana. Or if I don't have infinite mana, I'll be so close to having infinite mana, I can still just cast my entire deck pretty much and find a way to win somehow. So, or I can just control the board and kill everyone's stuff, and I still have 50-something treasures sitting here, And I have most of my deck in my hand as well. So, if I haven't found a way to win by then, it's kind of like, oh, well, it's not happening, bro. But yeah, like, that's what I mean. So, that it's so tough to make it in today's Magic where everything is being power crept out. You really need to, like, it's good that this comes in, you go, if you, make it to your first, main phase, you can get, that pre-combat main phase, you can get 3 things or 2 things, that's nice. It's nice if it was your post-combat main phase because then you could play it pre-combat main phase, get your post-combat main phase, and then be like, oh, okay, cool. It did something. The investment of 3 mana has paid off. I've gotten a card and a treasure out of it right here, right now. That's the thing. Anyway, guys, that is about it for this one. I think I've discussed this into the ground. You guys, again, can always let me know what you guys think. I love to hear what you guys think, even if you tell me I'm completely wrong, whatever. I don't mind that much as long as you're pretty civil about it. I try to be, civil about discussing this sort of stuff. I don't trash anyone for using this card if they want to use it. I don't really care. Like, I'm just saying this is where I think it is at. And again, if you're playing those more pre-con stroke upgraded pre-con games, hey, sure, cool, go for it. That's the place for it, But once you start getting into, the more, like, semi-casually competitive games, yeah, no. It's just not going to fly because there's just so much stuff happening out there that it's like, well, this does not, compute anymore. But anyway, guys, as I said, leave your thoughts down there in the comments below. I'll be sure to respond. Love interacting with you guys, talking about EDH and all the geeky things that we love. So yeah, but anyway, if I don't see you down there in the comments, I'll see you in the next one.